Oh boy. Oh geez. I can hear my voice and things are funky. Welcome to the Unwashed Asses, episode 6? I think it's 6. Yeah. Because I was just recording episode 5 10 minutes ago. Recorded Sunday, February 19th, 2017. So as I promised in the last one, joining me I have Sapper Woody.
Hi
Would you
there.
mind if I say your real name or no?
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. So Robert Presswood of YouTube fame. Uh, Today we're going to be talking pretty much about like streaming, recording shows, different experiences, things like that. Um, I don't know which one of us started first. I mean, maybe me technically 3 years
Yeah.
ago when I started Zero Lives, and you were telling me, "Oh no, you need to start talking in your videos. They're much better to watch."
My YouTube channel may be older, but I think you actually started doing the games first.
Yeah, and back then the way I did it was using fraps and recording on my ancient rig, and then it would take me 2 days to upload on my 1 megabit up connection. It was just terrible. But but yeah, you were one of the first people who started watching, and then since then we've gotten into not only recording shows but doing live streams, and then doing solo stuff, and eventually we fed into show together with the Friday Night Smite and
Hmm.
Mezzi helping out on that one.
Oh
So
yeah.
um, I know you were doing a lot of your music and putting that up there. Kind of where did you start, and what did you initially hope to do with it?
Well, originally, my plans were a lot different than they are now. I never planned on being a video gamer, a Let's Play person. Actually, it started off with me doing Warcraft parodies. I don't know if you remember Bye Bye Went the Tank Healer Guy and The Reason is Loot. I started off with those and thought, hey, maybe I can get these big. Well, they never went big. And I let the YouTube channel run dormant for a while. I probably 2 years between uploads. I'm looking at it right now. From December 22 of 2012 all the way to April 21st of 2013, so over a year. And then it it started lagging a little bit again. I'd upload, a month or 2 months in between doing some music. And then I started watching some big names on YouTube, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, and I thought, I can do that. That is something I can do. And so I was like, why not? So I decided to try it, and I've enjoyed it. I really have. And so now my view has, my dream for the channel has gone from trying to make it in the music industry to trying to make it in the video game industry.
Yeah, I think that's the thing as far as like video game streaming and why it took off as much as it did. That it's like, well, I already play games. Why the heck can't I like just start streaming it and having other people watch it? And that's the easy thing, tools like
Hmm.
OBS and XSplit make it super easy to not only record but then make the an actual stream so people can see you as you're playing live. And now we have, how many tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands streaming at any given time during the day, and even more people watching that.
Yeah.
The trick then is getting people to watch you.
Yeah, yeah. I've figured out the streaming part, the people to watch me part. I'm still working on that.
Yeah, it's tricky at best. And I know myself, I'm in a bit of a different situation, and I look at like your channel versus mine, where you're definitely more social and outgoing, and you have that bigger net of friends and family that you can essentially promote yourself to and say, "Oh yeah, I've been doing this. You should go, check it out." And then you've got the immediate like built-in base that you can then expand upon. Because I know you were talking earlier, like you went up what 10% in viewer gains today.
In the last 4 days, I've gone up 10% in subscribers. Yes, and
It And
Yes, I
that's
mean that's that's like you're saying, the having that network already in place definitely helps. I've got somewhere in the neighborhood of 700 friends on Facebook, so if
oh
I can,
jeez.
yeah, so if I can throw out a quick thing on Facebook and say, hey, watch this video, um, and I get just a few people to watch it, that really helps. And so having that built-in network, I've got an audience of 700 right on the onset that of potential viewers, and so I'm really hoping that helps me kick off.
And what type of return do you see on that? Because I imagine anytime you're about to go live or anytime you post like that you've uploaded something to YouTube, like can you give a percentage as far as what you see come back to that?
I actually can. I'm looking at my channel right now, and of course, it varies depending on content as well. Because most of my friends network on Facebook are more oriented towards the music or movies or something like that. So it does vary a little bit. But looking at a couple of videos I did a while back, I did a cover of "Mary Did You Know," and I put that one on Facebook. A little while later, about a month later, I did my video where I tried virtual reality for the first time. I did not put that one on Facebook. The difference is astounding. Again, taking into account that the "Mary Did You Know" is also music, it got roughly 5 times the views that my trying out VR for the first time did.
Right, and that's mostly based on your audience type. Like you also have to take into account, how many people even play video games, and then a subset of that, how many would actually care to watch somebody else play video games. Because I know for like myself, I love playing video games, but there are only like a handful of channels that I will end up watching, and I don't think I have ever
Yeah.
really watched anybody stream.
Okay. Yeah. See, I'm a little bit different in that respect, where I actually enjoy watching people stream, especially since I can play games alongside of them. And I've also noticed some of my video gaming getting better by watching some people stream. Shout out to Daz Valdez on Twitch. I subscribed to his channel for a while and supported him for a bit because he plays Kerbal Space Program. He runs a show called Kerbal Space Academy, and he actually shows people how to do things. Like, that game is very physics intensive and calculation intensive, and he was able to show me through his stream how to do some stuff, and my ability to do things in that game jumped crazily. And then I also like watching, again, the Markiplier. He's my main go-to guy that I watch is Markiplier. I watch Game Theorists, a little bit of Jacksepticeye, not so much PewDiePie because he's really gotten away from video game content and just doing videos. But I personally just love watching people play video games.
Yeah, is it something that I know because you started in the music side of things first, and you're going more towards video games, with still having the odd musical piece go up here and there. Is it something where you're gonna continue pursuing both, or you're gonna focus more on one or the other?
Well, I'm definitely going to focus on video games. If you look at my last year's worth of updates, I would say a good 80%, 90% of my videos have been video gameplay. That's definitely going to be the focus. Now, with that being said, I still enjoy music. I was a music teacher. I was a music major in college for a while, and so I still have this love for music. So if I feel like putting music up there, I will. But it's going to be mostly gameplay.
Is that just because you think that's where the larger audience ultimately is going to lie?
Well, it has something to do with that, but also more so that it takes a lot longer for me, believe it or not, to put a music video up. Whereas a video game, I record the gameplay, I record myself, and I record my audio, I compile it, and I put it up on YouTube. To make music, of course, my last several have been a cappella, so they've actually been easier. but I will start with a take and I'll stop it, and I'll retake a portion. And I mean, it'll take me a good 3-4 days to get it right. And especially if I'm throwing music in there, because I'll have the piano track. And every time I make a slip up on the piano, I've got to stop the recording, go back a little bit, replace it. So, it'll take me a good several hours to lay down the piano, then lay down the drums, and lay down the bass, and whatever else I'm putting in there, violins or trumpets, brass instruments. And so that in and of itself, just making a good soundtrack now, because my limit of what I'll allow as far as mistakes has definitely gone up. I want my quality to be higher. So it takes a good few days just to lay down the tracks. And then I do the voice, and I like putting more than just the lead part in there. I like to also surround it with whatever parts I can put in there, whether it be the tenor or the baritone, and even sometimes the bass. And so with all those takes and retakes and trying to get it to be a good sound rather than just an immediate, hey, whatever happens, happens, it's actually a lot harder to put a music video up there.
I guess that makes sense. Do you apply kind of the same principles then when it comes to making the video games, or you just kind of record it, it is what it is, and we're just going to throw it up? Because I know myself, that's the way I do things. I'm very much... I used to do all the editing on like, okay, this part's boring, or I screwed up in this part, let's go ahead and edit that out. And then I realized just how much time it was taking me to edit said videos and then compile it and then upload it. Whereas my new system, I'm just like, all right, let's record it. Whatever happens, happens. We're just going to export to YouTube and be done.
Yeah, I'm definitely more of that way with my video games. Just whatever happens, happens. I like genuine reactions, and that's why my last two videos, I've had issues with my face cam, and so I just put it up there without the face cam rather than re-recording it, because I want my initial reaction. I want people to see the real me on recording, not someone that's been pre-set up and has it all planned out and everything. Now, that being said, I will edit out some boring parts. A couple of my old videos, when I was doing Vampires the Masquerade, there was some times where I got absolutely lost. And so I just kind of cut out pieces here and there, kept in some of the funny pieces, had a little bit of a montage of me saying I am so lost over and over and over again. And and so but I like the genuineness of it. And I think you can relate here too. The more you do it, the less boring segments you have, because
Right.
you're learning, you're really growing into your role. You're really learning how to fill time. You're learning not to remain silent when you're concentrating, things like that.
There's a couple different things I want to talk about based on what you just said there. First and foremost, cameras. As far as actually watching the person play the game, again, I'm probably in the minority here, but I want to get your take on that. I, for a very brief time, experimented with having a camera of myself, essentially video in the corner, so people could watch me actually play the game. But when I'd go back and I'd watch, maybe it's just because I'm not reactive enough, or because I don't care to watch streamers in general, that I just think it's kind of pointless. Like, oh, you're watching this person sitting in a chair, and their face might twitch a little bit different when something happens on the screen. But I know, like, in your stuff, you always put it in, and the people you watch usually have that done too. So, I mean, what do you get out of that, a little more in depth?
Well, one thing is I was a lot like that when I started. Very non-responsive, things like that. The people who make it big that I've seen, they are very responsive. I mean, in fact, over responsive. They jump at scares. They're very loud. They're to the point of being obnoxious, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And
the ones that I've seen, especially like PewDiePie or even some of the more popular ones, it feels like they're not being authentic. They're just hamming it up for the audience, or maybe they're just skewing to a younger crowd where the spastic reactions are kind of a norm.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it. See, like I'm more reserved myself, but one thing I have done lately is I've really tried to bring myself out of that. I've tried to be loud. I've tried to be more responsive, and my thing, I'll never get to that point where they are. I'm not going to be that one who is overacting at things. But if you look at, again, to reference my own channel, if you look at my last two videos, I was trying out different voices. I was doing a Navi voice, and I wasn't afraid to make fun of myself. When I talked as Navi, it sounded like Mrs. Doubtfire. And so that's more, I'm trying to find my balance of still maintaining the real me, yet transforming myself into more of an entertainer.
Now, do you find that it's more of a performance at that point? Are you losing that authentic nature?
I think there's a balance to be found. In my earlier life, I was somewhat of a performer. Going back to the music thing, I performed on stage. I would be up in front of people speaking or singing. And so I do have some of that performer in me. And so when I am on the camera, I like to think that I am performing, but yet performing me. I become a new character that is still me. The best way that I can describe it is kind of like Stephen Colbert on the Colbert Report. His character's name was Stephen Colbert, same name. Now his case is more extreme than what I am thinking because it's nothing like him.
He's like a parody of himself, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. But what I want to do is I want that to be my actual personality, be that performer, not pretend to be a performer and lose myself, but to become that performer, that to be my personality. So I'm trying to mold myself into that role.
And I know you're saying you try to want to do like a balance there. Is it because I know I toyed with the same idea as far as like, okay, I'm going to try character voices, I'm going to try and be more responsive, because I'm thinking back to a very specific instance where I was playing a fighting game with a couple of people I didn't know all that well. And they're like, "Oh my God, you're like a stone. You're like a rock. You don't react to anything." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, that's typically how I play games because I sit in my room by myself and I play the game, and all the reactions are happening in my head." And that was the biggest thing I've been having a problem with when it comes to the streaming is being more vocal instead of just like talking to myself in my head. Like whatever I think, I need to just spit it out because usually that input or commentary is what people are after, no matter how dumb I think it is.
Mm-hmm. And one thing that really helps me there is explaining. If I'm doing something, I like to explain it to the audience. Because that's what's going through my head is what am I doing? Oh, well, let me explain to the audience what I'm doing. Now here lately, I'm doing that Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time series. I haven't really had to do much explaining, but I've been talking the whole time, mostly in self-deprecation. It took me 20 minutes to find the Great Deku Tree at the beginning. And so a lot of times I'm actually I am having that monologue with the audience, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's what's going on. Here's the mistakes I'm making. But then if I get to a more intricate part, then it's like, hey, here's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And then I like to also, going back to kind of like a speech class in college speech. Here's some opposing viewpoints. Some people like to do it this way. Here's why I chose not to. And so I find that explaining things really gets me to that point where I am talking instead of thinking.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I'm still really torn about it because, like, I've been playing For Honor a lot lately, and I just went through the story mode today, and I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I should be streaming this. But there are a lot of instances where I'm getting stuck and I'm having to repeat like the same fight, sometimes upwards of an hour long, and there might be some good reactions as yes, I'm driven to that point where I want to throw my controller through a wall. But how entertaining is it watching somebody fail, making the same mistakes over and over and over again?
Well, that's the point where it has to become about the person, not the game. And that's the hard part is, I'm failing. So how do I entertain? while failing. Now, sometimes, the failing is the entertaining.
Mhm.
You've seen in our streams, sometimes as we're losing games, our viewer count goes up.
Yeah.
that is hilarious to me how that happens sometimes. It's like, oh, we're losing a game. Well, now our viewer's going up.
Mhm.
But so sometimes that failing can be the entertainment. There are games out there like that. QWOP is a good one.
Right.
I don't know if you're familiar with that one.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole point of that is how far can you go? But when you're watching somebody, you're essentially watching them fail over and over and over and over again, and that is the entertainment. Now, that'll bring out natural reactions, too, where you get so frustrated that you're yelling at the screen and things like that. And guys like you and I, we're not that expressive in our frustration,
Mhm.
maybe a little grunt, something like that. And that's where you have to find yourself and decide, okay, if I yell, is it me or is it my performance?
And that's the thing, like, I'm trying to curate this forward-facing personality that the general public sees that's not necessarily representative of me as an entirety in my personal life. And so when I'm screaming like, motherfucker, how did this, god damn it, and just ranting and raving in my living room, like, I don't know that I necessarily want people seeing me like this. Like, I want to retain that composure, like, oh yeah, Christian's got his shit on lockdown, it's totally fine. But when I'm losing to the cheapest piece of shit an hour in a row, it's hard not to lose that composure.
Yeah, and so I actually I made a frustration montage on one of my videos. I was playing. I don't remember what it was actually off the top of my head, but I made a video, and it was there we go. It was Give Up 2, just an easy game on there, and I did that a frustration montage. And if you look at mine, if you know me, and you watch me, he is very frustrated. But if you don't know me and you're just somebody watching it, you're going to be like, this guy, he's not very animated, because, it's like, dang it. That's about as animated as I get on that whole montage. And it's like it's like 10 minutes straight of me just dying over and over and over again. And so, yeah, it's finding that balance, becoming animated, but keeping it real. And just finding out how much of me can I turn into a performer, so that way I am a performer, not pretending to be a performer.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think we're starting to circle around on the topic there as far as striking that balance.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't necessarily. I mean, do you have like a target demographic that you're after? Is there an age range? Are you going after the ladies, or are you going after more of the guys, or just kind of throwing it up there and seeing what sticks?
Yeah, I would say more of a throwing it out there. I want more followers. I mean, who doesn't? But I want the loyal fans, the fans that I know. When I put up a video, they're going to want to watch me. And I want it. I would rather draw people to me than go to them. So I'm putting out my videos, and I am altering myself somewhat. Like I said, I'm trying to become more outgoing. I'm trying to become more of a reactionist there. But I want people to see me and be like, hey, I want to watch this guy, not me looking and, oh, people are watching this, so I need to do that. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
Chasing the views, yeah. Because at that point, you're going to start morphing and changing into something that you don't necessarily want to become, and you're at the audience's whim, and that's no good.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. At that point, you lose control of your own show. You're instead of being your own boss, you're allowing other people to tell you what to create, and I don't want to lose that. I want to create what I want to create. Hopefully, what I want to create is what people want to see.
Right, and that's kind of the leading into the next topic here, as far as chasing views and paying attention to sub counts and watch times and essentially all the metrics that come with the different services we use. And I did that for a very, very, very long time. I still do it, even though I don't want to admit it. as far as like paying attention. Like, oh, one person unsubscribed. Like, who was it? What did I do? Why did they do it? And what types of things are striking a chord, so I can kind of drum up numbers with that. But on the converse side of it, like the entire reason I started streaming, like actually pursuing things with like the Zero Lives series, was I wanted to be like an introspective series as I work through my own mental issues and play the video games. And then when I found out that I can't split my concentration between running raids and talking about manic depression, like, okay, well, I need to split these two things up.
Yeah.
And going across the different services and then seeing what the topics are, what the videos are, what I'm covering, and then seeing what people react to, it's interesting. And then I would find myself where I'm not getting the numbers that I want, getting bummed out. And I have to think to myself, well, am I doing this for the views and for the people, or am I doing it for the original reason as far as these are just things I enjoy doing, might as well share it.
Yeah, and I see that exactly. And with my case, I would love for my YouTube channel to grow. I would love for it to become a source of income. I would love that. But when it all comes down to it, this is my hobby. This is my fun. I am playing video games. I might as well share it with the world. And that. So my goal, while I would love for it to grow, and that is my goal for it there, but my goal in life is not to be the greatest YouTuber ever. I right now I am attending university, and I'm going to get my degree in physics as well as my degree in math, and I have a minor in secondary education. My goal in life is to provide for my family. My goal in life is to be happy. If I do that through physics, math, education, that's fine. If I do that through YouTube, and it's also fine, probably be more fun, but it's fine either way.
Right.
So, right now it's at this point where, it could take off and it could grow and it could become something real, and that would make me so happy. But if it doesn't take off and it doesn't grow, I will still do it.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, because I know you and we've talked about this in private before, especially with like the Friday Night Smite, as we're trying to grow that channel and show, especially during the live streams. Like, don't look at the viewer numbers, don't comment on it, don't say anything about it, because it's a real turnoff. But still, it's exciting when you see that you have twice as many people in the stream that you normally do, and you're like, and your mind immediately goes like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What's working here? How do we keep this going?
Yeah, like you said, it's you don't want to turn off people by talking about it, but yeah, like you said, it's very exciting. I'm excited about my viewer count growing in YouTube the last few days, but I'm not going to go on YouTube and make a video of it. Maybe if I reach when I reach 1,000 subs, I might make a video. When I reach 5, some milestone videos, that's great. But I'm not going to go on there and be like, hey, look at my channel, I'm growing, you should all support me, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's kind of how looking and talking about the viewer count in the Twitch stream is like, and that's how I'm kind of like, and I'm trying to get myself out of that habit of announcing how many viewers we have over the stream, because I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and crap, I had what I was going to say with that, but I just blanked. Crap, it was a really good point too. The cat's up here; he's distracting me, and I just lost my train of thought.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Do you ever find yourself getting feeling dumb about what it is that you do with the streaming or recording? Because I know, like, if anybody goes back and listen to like episode 2 or 3 of the show, it's essentially a half-hour meltdown by myself of like, this is dumb. I'm playing games. Kids play games. Why does anybody watch this? This is just awful, and there's no point. I was very nihilistic. Like, there's no point in anything. Why does anybody do anything? And especially this. I'm playing video games. Why does anybody want to watch this?
Well, funny you should bring that up, actually, because and I don't mind sharing this over the air. As you know, I am a combat veteran, and I have some mental issues. I'm dealing with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and I'm also dealing with some anxiety and clinical depression. So it does come up every once in a while. In fact, Friday, 4 or 5 hours before the stream, I told my wife, I said, I'm feeling down right now. And I said, if it was just my stream, if I didn't have Mesophesto and Zero to worry about, if it was just my stream, I would not do it tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me, she said, hey, I know you're feeling down, but you know what would help you? And I said, what? She said, doing the stream.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, we started setting up and having all those technical difficulties and everything we had Friday night. That was crazy. But as soon as I got on there, and as soon as I got into the mindset of streaming, it really helped me. So while I am looking at stuff and thinking, oh, I'm not growing, I'm not nobody wants to watch a 33-year-old man with a beard and a gut play video games. Sometimes those thoughts pop into my head, and then again it goes back to why, like you said, why are you doing this? Well, I'm doing this for me. I'm doing it for fun. I'm doing it as a hobby. That's why I'm doing it. So I don't care if nobody wants to watch me play video games. I'm still going to put my video games up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that because that episode where I did have the breakdown, it was a thing of that was my recording day, that was my recording time. I don't care what I'm dealing with, just go on and record. And what I ended up thinking it was a complete train wreck, I got the most feedback on from other people, like actually reaching out and saying, oh yeah, it's okay, I dig what you're doing, keep doing it, blah, blah, blah. And that meant a lot, but even if I don't get that feedback, I find that by actually continuing with the show, doing the recording, my mind stops like dwelling and focusing on the issues that I've been having, and then it has to go into like Friday night playing doctor and trying to fix everything that's going wrong, or your focus shifts.
Mm-hmm.
And then before you know it, the show's over and you're in a better mood, or at least in a different place.
Right. I mean, and that's the way it is. And in that way, your audience, whatever it may be, whether it's 5, whether it's 15 million, your audience kind of becomes your therapist.
Yes.
You can talk to them, and it's crazy to me how this is a very public thing. Anybody in the world can view what I'm doing. Anybody in the world can listen to what I'm doing. Anybody in the world can see what's going on, yet it somehow becomes intimate with your audience.
Mm.
You tell them what kind of day you're having. You tell them what's been going on in your life, and you talk about your kids' birthdays. You talk about your dog. You talk about how your house floods and you've got to go repair the entire thing. Mm. Things like that. And so it's amazing to me, like I said, how public it is, yet it becomes so intimate with your audience.
Right. And that's the type of relationship I'd like to foster with an audience, as far as like, nothing's really off limits. If you want to write into the show, talk about things, or just call me an idiot for not realizing something, or like, oh no, this is how you deal with this. That's the type of relationship I want to foster, not one of like where I'm sitting high overlord in my ivory tower and just casting judgment like, well, I have depression, this is how you deal with this, blah blah blah, or this is how you take this boss down, and no other methods are viable.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, going back to the whole, using the audience as a therapist. Again, I don't mind saying this on the air. That's what brought me into your show tonight. Mm-hmm. I had some issues, and you're like, hey, you want to hop on and record with me? And I was like, great, kind of at first. I was a little reluctant, thinking I would bring the show down. But as soon as I started thinking about it, and my wife immediately noticed a difference. I told her, hey, I'm gonna be recording with Christian tonight, and so this is what we're going to be doing. And I mean, she even told me, I mean, this was 15 minutes after I agreed to do the show. She said, hey, you're feeling better already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it definitely helps me in a very self-serving way of like, oh god, now I finally have somebody to bounce things off with. I don't have to carry the show all by myself for an hour.
Yeah.
And that's the funny thing, like, because I do 3 different shows a week now. I do this one, the Unwashed Asses. I do Zero Lives still, and then I do Friday Night Smite with you and Mezzy. But by far, I have the most fun when it comes to Friday Night Smite, just because I have you two to talk to, bounce things off with, and then new fun things happen instead of the incredibly scripted nature that is this show usually.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. I would love, and I've mentioned this to you before, I would love for our YouTube stuff to get collaborated. Release stuff to YouTube where you're playing the game, I'm playing the game. Maybe throw Messi in there, and we're playing a game all together, and we make our YouTube content. And the reason is because we go back all the way to the beginning of tonight, or this morning, whenever you're listening to it, viewers, audience. You're not viewing it, but all the way back to the beginning, where we were talking about filling time, becoming yourself, finding that performance. When you have more people, you don't have to worry about that. You are constantly talking, you're constantly joking, we're constantly putting each other down.
Yep.
And so it really makes your content that much easier.
And it definitely makes producing a show that much easier when we're having a technical snafu. I can rely on you and Mezzy to carry the show while I have to fix things in the background. And then what stinks, though, is like they're watching my camera. We need to figure out a way where I can just like switch the camera to one of your characters, because mine just sits idle while I'm trying to fix stuff.
Well, and that's part of learning. We're still learning the system. We're learning what works, what doesn't, on the technical side, on the performance side, on the gaming side. We're learning so many things right now because we're learning, and you're doing most of the work for our Friday Night Smite show, but you're learning the technical side of it while we're all becoming these performers, while we're learning this game and getting better at this game. So this experience is brand new to all of us. It's exciting. I'm pretty excited about it.
I don't know that we're getting better at the game. We've been having a rough couple of weeks here. But I think I'm going to blame a lot of it on the double XP weekends where we're playing a lot of different gods and trying to get the masteries and getting ready for ranked.
Yeah, I think there's been double XP with the last 3 weeks or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not going to complain because it's definitely been helping, and I know you guys are jumping up in level. You're close to 30 now. I know once you guys hit 30, we're ready for ranked Joust.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
that honestly that excites me more than anything, because I know when I was a kid, I was always like, oh yeah, I want to go to game tournaments, I want to play stuff, and like all the games I was really good at, like Soul Calibur, when there were tournaments, they weren't super big, and now Smite through High Res is one of the biggest, grossers as far as like audience and prize pools in the esports scene. And
I mean, last year I believe it was, they had the biggest prize pool in esports history. I want to say it was $2.5 million spread over 8 teams or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and while I would like to get competitive with it and actually go, because I enjoy going to like conventions like Comic Cons and whatnot, I would think it'd be super fun to go and actually compete as a team, even if we're doing it just over the internet, and we can like say on Facebook or Twitter like, oh hey, we're in this tournament, you guys can actually watch us play, here's our time bracket, just like when you're in high school playing basketball or football, like, hey, I've got this meet, come watch.
Yeah, exactly, and yeah, I'm excited about that too. We're gonna have to start doing our tournaments that we do, our local stuff, and try regionals, and I'll be honest, I don't think we're gonna get that far in season 4, which just started. We could, but I think the next season, I think that's gonna be our Had we been ready, because season 4 just started. Had we already been ready, I think we could have done something, but. My goal for this season is to become those people that will make it to the tournaments next season.
Right, at least comfortable with it, because I know there's a lot of rule changes as far as like voting and elimination of characters that we're gonna have to deal with. Where I know we have one really good core team and we're all pretty decent with several of the others. I don't know how well we're going to perform when, like, say our top 3 are out of the pick and we have to rely on backups.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing, because each team gets 3 bans, and so it is very possible that our 3 could be banned. Our core 3. Right. And
especially if they're paying attention and have watched previous matches, like, okay, we know these 3 are their best, and then it becomes like a game of subterfuge of like, okay, we can't play our best all the time because they know that's our trump card, so we have to rotate a lot of characters in and then hope they don't ban this certain combo.
Yeah, we got to look at it and be like, okay, this team we can beat without playing our best 3, so let's play something else.
Yeah. And I think we're finding different comps, different characters that work, and it's really just going to come down to like time and practice. And I don't think we're going to reach we're never going to reach the point where we're competing on like a worldwide level, just because we're all in our 30s, we have families and jobs, and we can't sit and play the game for 9 hours and really get stuff down pat like the pro teams, and that's fine. But I know, like myself, I really have to work on learning the terminology and different roles, and especially like the items, because all of my characters are pre-mades from other guides on the internet.
Yeah. Now here's one huge advantage we have, though. Most people, they're good players, and they come together and have to learn each other. We're at the opposite side. We know each other. We can communicate. We can talk. When the other night I said something, and if anybody else had heard it, they would not have gotten it. What I said was ultimate in. I heard that today while watching our last stream. I said ultimate in, and now, grammatically speaking, and you would think, oh, that means I need to ultimate in, but no, you both understood. No, that meant an ultimate was incoming. You knew exactly what I was talking about, and so we didn't mess up there because you guys understood me and what I was thinking.
Yeah, I definitely like the hive mind that we kind of develop when a game gets, so especially playing with our core team, as far as we know how to move around with one another, we know how to engage, we know how to finish off chase. I think our biggest problem is that we sometimes get a little overzealous and dive too much, but for the most part, we have a good symmetry.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I love is we're usually all thinking the same tactic already. If someone says we should go for damage, the other 2 are already thinking it. They just hadn't said it. And we can come to quick decisions because we do work as a team. If I say we need to get bull, and either one of 2 things is going to happen in a split second. Either both of you are going to overrule me, or both of you are going to come with me to get the bull. We're that quick.
Right. That's one thing I really appreciate, that I feel like a viable member of the team. I don't feel like I'm carrying you or vice versa. It feels equal. Now, if we're having a rough match and I'm sucking it up, I don't feel bad about admitting that. And, I mean, the stats aren't going to lie that I'm a terrible assassin or warrior. And not being punished like... what the hell? Why didn't you do this? This is what you should have done. You should have gone with this ability, this item, yada yada. It's great. Yeah,
and along with that, we have the ability to. Of course, we make fun of each other all the time, and that's just part of it. Especially with your assassin Aphrodite.
Yeah.
But none of us are in danger of being kicked from the team because we didn't perform.
Right. Well, I don't think... I mean, largely because we've known each other for over a decade now, but 2, there's no money on the line as far as like, we lost out on 25 grand because you didn't ult at the right time.
And that's one of the great things about, doing it for fun, doing it at the level we're going to be doing it. I'm going to start calling it casual hardcore. We're going to be at that point where, oh well, we lost out on some money, but guess what? We had fun.
Mm.
We're going back to our jobs. We're going back to our families. In my case, going back to school.
Right.
It's not like this is our life. Some of these teams, I want to say, and I may be wrong on this, but I want to say that Cloud9 was the first to actually do this. Some of the teams, they actually rent or buy a house, and the players move in with each other, and that's all they do all the time. And that is their livelihood. That they have sponsors they got to please, they have coaches they have to please, and if they lose too many tournaments, they're out.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be the way it is for us, because if we win a tournament and we make $2,000,
yay, we get mixers and good microphones.
Exactly. We get equipment to where we can then go back to our streaming and our YouTube and make it better for the audience.
Mm-hmm.
So if we win, the audience wins.
Right.
If we lose, nobody loses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've heard a lot about that with teams that it's like any pro sport, as far as like you've got a little bit of a draft, you got to recruit the right people, and those people aren't necessarily going to get along with one another, and there's a toxic environment, and the only reason they cooperate is just so they can get that payout.
Yeah, and I don't think we're in danger of that, even though we are, as I mentioned on the stream, we are looking for more people. But as it was quick to explain in the stream, we're not looking for the greatest players. Mm-hmm. We are looking for someone who will become part of our social group first, play Smite with us second.
Right. And that was the entire philosophy behind Horror Cockadus when we formed it was, and even today, we still have a Slack, we still have this website, Discord, all that, is we just want to have people to play with, so you have more people to play with and have fun with. It's not a thing of like, oh, we need to make actual progression as far as like raid clearance because we're competing with, Method or whatever.
Vodka.
Oh God, I forgot about those guys.
Yeah, they were on our server. Number one. They were number one in the U.S., 16th in the world, and they were on our server. There was no competing with them.
Nope. Oh, somebody's calling my work phone. I'm going to ignore it for now. I'm doing other work. It's more important. I don't make any money at it, but it's more important. Yeah, we did form up. We moved everything over from your personal Twitch channel and my YouTube channel, as far as like the Friday Night Smite stuff, to we now have a Horror of Cockadus YouTube channel. We have a Twitch channel, so everything gets streamed there. And then I finished configuring the YouTube this morning, and we're going to put the archives up there. And probably like any other team-based things or like group activities, we can easily just throw it up there. So.
Yeah. And, I'm not expecting that YouTube to grow much, but if it does, that's just, again, a win for everybody.
Well, yeah, imagine like other, again, I don't follow the esports and streaming scene nearly as much as others, but teams like Cloud9, for example, I imagine have like a community page where people can watch these types of things because, if it's like the Bears, the Cubs, or, 49ers, whomever, people like to follow the team.
Yeah, which actually brings up an interesting point that, we were talking about people seeing our best stuff and, trying to do a little bit of subterfuge there. And ironically, we're a little concerned about that, but if you look at it, we're really not all that concerned about it. It's like, oh, we want to do some homework on these teams. Well, let's go to their YouTube page and watch every game they've ever played.
Yeah, we're effectively putting up our team film for them to watch.
Yeah, they don't have to have somebody filming us. We're going to do it for them.
Yeah.
So that means we're just going to have to be that much better.
Oh boy, I don't know that you want that type of pressure on me.
But again, the great thing about it is that the pressure really isn't to do well. The pressure is to have fun. Doing well is secondary to that. It's a bonus.
Mm-hmm. But it is super frustrating when you're like 2-10 in a match.
Yeah, it's very frustrating for me when you're 2-10 in the match too.
I can't blame you. I mean, when I was playing Best Stat, I did not know how to. Like, I knew how the ability works. I knew how she should be played, but it just wasn't clicking. I couldn't jump in. I couldn't engage. I couldn't get away fast enough. And I don't know. It's just. I need to stick with hunters and mages, but I like to break it up because I was pleasantly surprised with like a Wheelix, super fun assassin to play, and I was doing extremely well with her.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny because we have our roles that we love to play. Obviously I like to play the hunter role. I like to splash into mage and very occasionally warrior. The bad thing is obviously that overlaps with you. You like to play the mages, go into hunters and splash into some other things. The great thing is Messi's always our guardian even when he plays a mage. So we've got that role covered.
And that's the thing too, like we've modified our characters with our play styles that they're functioning outside of their roles.
Oh yeah, I mean our tank is a mage. That's the way we play for the most part.
Our assassin is a mage.
Yeah, exactly. Our tank is a mage, our assassin is a mage, our hunter is chase them down and kill them if the other two fail.
Yeah.
When I play Chiron, or for that matter any hunter, I also enjoy a Muzenkab, Cupid, to a lesser extent Artemis, and Apollo. But when I play a hunter, I don't expect the kills to be set up for me and me get the kill and me be carried. I expect for me to finish the kill if you guys don't get it.
Right, because I mean, I know we joke around a lot as far as like kill stealing and whatnot, but it's definitely a team effort, especially when it comes to Jousting. It's just the three of us. It's not about individual rankings because that literally doesn't matter. Sometimes kills don't even matter. It's just how you actually play and then position on the map.
Oh yeah, I mean we've seen it before where we're getting wrecked, or hopefully not the other way around, but we've seen it before where we're getting wrecked. The kills are heavily in the other team's favor, and then right at the end we get a deicide, run in, kill the Phoenix, kill the Titan, and it's over in the entire game, and we win.
Yeah. I mean, anybody can go back because I know I've been putting the archives up since like last October. You can go back and you can see that plenty of times where we've just like lucked out or we clicked at the right moment and then we're able to clinch it.
Mm-hmm. And it really is, and that's one thing I love about it. It's a team, it's a team thing. And in fact, really close to the beginning of our last stream, I was watching it today. In fact, I still got it going up next to me silently. But at the beginning of our stream, Messi on Hades got a double kill, and when he jumped in and started his ultimate, he actually said, "Here you go," like he was handing it to me. Mm-hmm. But he ended up getting the kills, both of them, and I forget my exact words, but they were something to the effect of, "Hey, as long as one of us got the kill, I'm not even mad I didn't get the kills."
Yeah, it just comes back to that. You got to set one another up for success.
Yeah. Now, I will say it has altered my playing a little bit, and it has altered the items that I get a bit, because the way we play. I'm not expecting to be that ADC, so I actually get what is usually a mage starting item, which allows anytime there is a minion kill near me, I get full credit XP and gold-wise for it. Because I know I'm not going to get that carry, so I've got to make up for it.
Right, and I think that's the type of stuff that's going to change should we get a 4th and a 5th, and we can start going into like Conquest and the other mode. It's not Clash, it's the one where you're pushing the Titans.
Well, there's Clash that is a 5, and then there is Siege, which is a 4v4.
Siege, that's it. Yeah. And that's the thing, circling back to finding a 4th and a 5th. So,
yeah, and for a while there, we thought we had a 4th. He ended up not playing. He wasn't enjoying it, and he may have been a good fit eventually. I don't think he was a good fit though. Simply, and I'm speaking of Gunrunner here.
Oh, I was thinking of somebody
But
else.
I know who you were thinking of, and he's still a candidate if he tempers himself a little bit. I don't want to say his name in case he ever hears this, but Gunrunner, he's a kid, and so he didn't. It sounds weird to say this, but he didn't take it as seriously as we do.
Yeah.
I mean, because even though we don't take it overall too seriously, each match we want to take seriously and we want to try to win. And I can't count the number of times where he said, "Oh, I'm going to die," and then ran in under the tower to try to kill somebody and then died instead of getting a kill. And it's like, well, if you're, not going to get the kill, don't just sacrifice yourself.
Right. Yeah, and I know I have a couple other people like similar boat. Like they started playing, like, oh yeah, it'd be good. We can recruit you in, and then I go and watch them play their usual games again. Like, oh okay, well, all right, forget that. So it's totally cool. We just stay at 3. I'm not too overly concerned.
Yeah. Again, if we never get that 5, it goes back to the reason we're doing it. We're doing it for fun. Would we like to win the big money? Of course. Who to say you wouldn't would be stupid. But if we never win the big money, that's fine. And for your viewers' sake, the big money is not in 3s. The big money is in the 5v5. There is some money in 3s, but not nearly as much. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars difference.
But every little bit helps. I got an electric bill to pay just like anybody else.
Yeah. And so and now here's to go with that thought though. Here, the good thing about us, the competition is not as big in the 3s either. We've actually got a better shot in 3s than we do 5s.
But do the 3s teams come based out of the 5s teams, where they like say, okay, here's a core group. We also compete in 5s, but we're going to compete in 3s as well.
I'm not going to say no to that because I don't know for sure, but I will say not from what I've seen. The big name gamers, they tend to have their 5, and that's what they want to do. And the reason is it comes down to money. They are bound by that money. They have, again, sponsors that want them to be the big names. There's no real big names in 3s because that's just not what nobody looks at that. So the sponsors don't want to sponsor 3s. They've got coaches who need to be paid, so they've got to go where the money is. They've got houses that they're renting or buying. Like I said, they're always up to date on the latest equipment. They don't have jobs, so they don't go to those lower brackets because that's not where the money is. They have to follow the money. Right.
Yeah. A lot more hard work just because that is their career.
Exactly.
It's weird because it's like a freelancer status where you're not guaranteed. You don't have a pension that you're putting money into. It's all performance based. Like you don't perform, you're out.
Exactly. And now I will say that some of the big names that have won, let's go back to that Smite prize pool of I want to say it was 2.5 million, but the winners got was it 1.2 million? I want to say the first place that year got 1.2 million. So you've got your 5 guys, you've got your coach. I'm assuming that people like that, they've also got other things they have to pay out. They can't just split it between those 6 people.
Right, and then you have taxes and all that.
Right. Even though on paper it's split between 6 people, because that's the way Smite does their payouts. They pay it evenly to 6 people, 5 players and a coach. I guarantee you that money didn't go to them. It actually went to whoever they worked for, and they split out the money. But you got to think, even on the low end, let's say a person that won $200,000. Let's say 20% taken out for this, 20% taken out for that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They still got enough to live on for that entire year.
Right.
And so now they have an entire year where they don't have to work, where they can then focus on more games or the same game, becoming a better team. Yeah, exactly. But because of that, though, we come back to my point about their hands being tied. They can no longer play games for fun. they have to play games for money. Now, a lot of these guys that are in the big name teams, they also have Twitch channels that they do. And I was watching one. He was actually, I forget his name now. I'm subscribed to him, I follow him on Twitch. But he was actually one of the Cloud9 guys, and he was playing League of Legends. And I watched him for 45 minutes, and in that 45 minutes, he made, it was either $500 or $600. So let's go with the lowball number, $500.
Yeah, the donations.
Yeah, people donating to his show. And I was amazed. So here's the thing. Now he's got all these fans that are giving him money because they like what he's doing. That means he's got to keep doing it. Mm-hmm. Now, don't get me wrong. I would love to be in that position.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we kind of are. We over at the Horror Cockadus Twitch channel, we do have donations enabled. People can do it via PayPal or credit card, and we do have a Patreon for the Friday Night Smite show itself. So, if you want to contribute, you're more than welcome to contribute. We get you access to the Discord and all that.
Yeah, and I would gladly say, hey, if somebody donates and they want to be part of the show and come play with us for some time, I would be more than happy to allow that.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're super flexible as far as that's concerned. I got everything configured in like 5 hours on Friday afternoon. So just put the basics in, just, essentially get a shell structure up.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got right now our only tier of rewards comes at $1 a month, and that gets you access to the Discord. But like I said, if somebody wanted to donate, I'm going to throw out a random number there. Let's say somebody wanted to donate $25, and they wanted to then say, "Hey, your next Friday Night Smite, I want to be on your team." Mm-hmm. I would be fine with that. And in fact, I say we go ahead and set it at $30 right now, $10 an hour. Say if somebody wants to donate $30, they can be on our Friday night stream with us.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I can get that changed over on the Patreon. But
there we go.
That marks us a little over an hour, running a bit long. Is there anything you want to promote or pimp out or tell people about?
Well, I talked about my YouTube channel quite a bit tonight, so I'll just instead of giving the address, of course, I am Sapper Woody online, and so if you want to check out my show, my YouTube channel, you can just go either Google Sapper Woody, or you can go on YouTube and search Sapper Woody. My channel comes right up. I appreciate any follows that I can get, subscribers, likes, all that. Everything that every other YouTuber is asking you for. Go ahead, and you have no reason not to come give it to me too.
Like the digital clap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll put links to Woody's stuff in the show notes, so it doesn't matter how you get the show, be it iTunes, Google Play, or like YouTube. I'll have all the necessary links there, so you guys can just click it and go. Anything else you want people to know?
No, that's fine. I've enjoyed being on the show, and I would love to come on the show again sometime. This has been fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, time flew. But otherwise, yeah, if you want to write the show, the Unwashed Asses at gmail.com. Again, the Unwashed Asses at gmail.com. I'm willing to talk really about anything. I try to give you a few topics, at least a week to talk about. But again, if you want to just say, "Hey, you big dummy," or "Oh my God, you're so handsome," you can go ahead and write in, and we'll cover all of it. Otherwise, we do record. I try to record either Thursday or Friday of every week, and you can catch it on, again, YouTube, iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, and Pocket Casts. And show notes go up there. Of course, everything else I do is can be found at 009.com, or the Twitter at 009. But we'll talk to you next week.
I can feel the end, it's drawing near. It will soon be here. Oh, that much is clear. So shut the doors and turn off the lights. Let us sleep tonight. Let us huddle in the dark. Oh, my love. are beautiful, but that beauty comes at such a price. And I know that you'll soon disappear, like the dark and the night.